Today we have video from the most recent store championship at Game Empire Pasadena. On the left we have Brandon, he's playing Baratheon, Banner of the Lion, and on the right we have Sean with Martell, Banner of the Lion. So we're getting in right on their first plot reveal. Both reveal noble cause. I think they're going for initiative. So Brandon was deemed going first, though he does have a King's Road in play, and I think they neglected to detect that to give Brandon initiative versus kind of rolling off for it. Brandon's got 5 income and plays Reducer. Let's see. And plays out Melisandre, kneeling Tyrion. Good choice. Let's see, so pretty good setup on the Baratheon side. He's already got his kneel out against sort of a, I guess not the best flop. Got some economy on the Martell side. Bastard Daughter is always good for claim. And and Tyrion comes out on the Baratheon side. So gold income, it's always really nice. Helps you pay for your events. The Iron Throne. Yeah, the Baratheons have some really nice cards to synergize with the Iron Throne. The Painted Table, whatever that card is fully named, is very nice. It allows you during dominance to take a power off of your opponent's card and put one on yours. So just gaining dominance gets you like 2 power. It's really nice. Okay, and the Martell player plays out a reducing location, going into the Greenblood Trader, which lets you draw 2 cards and basically pick one of them, and the other one goes, I think, on the bottom of your deck. Pretty nice, simple card draw out of Martell, cheap chud. Also, the Intrigue icon is actually pretty nice, either blocking to prevent the power gain for unopposed. Don't mind the camera modification. This is my second video, so the first one of today. I think they overall went pretty well. The glare's not too horrible. You can see all the cards, which I was very fortunate that the without any additional lighting, you can see most of the cards without a lot of disturbance. So, okay, well, a little bit of stalling here from both sides. I think the Martell player is moving along. Okay, he's got his Casting Grey out. Great card. Excellent against big Voltron characters. Sacks' King Road. He's got 2 gold left. Let's see what else he's going to play. Spends 2 gold with the King's Road sack to play out. Oh, and the Noble Cause to play out Gregor Clegane. 7 cost, 10 power, or 10 strength, pillage, renown, and the ability to, when you trigger pillage, you can, whatever card is triggered, you can then kill a card in play of the same strength, or same printed cost, sorry. Okay, so Baratheon's opening up in challenges for the first round. Okay. Let's see, a military challenge coming from the Fiery Followers and the Bastard Daughter, as we were talking about earlier. Great for military claim, and he pulls, looks like the Red Keep, the power gaining location for Baratheon. Pretty nice pull there out of hand. The extra +2 power that's passive is very powerful. Melisandre, Intrigue, Tyrion's ability reaction on both sides of the table. Both players gaining 2 gold, pretty nice. It's not any, I guess, Tears Lys is a big one. Oh, and the opposition. I was going to say Tears Lys on Gregor Clegane so early before he even gets to issue a challenge would be pretty devastating for the Martell player, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, no reaction, and looks like a rattlesnake raiders maybe out of hand from the Martell player. It was very quick. So, okay, and the unopposed power from Tyrion, gaining him an unopposed. Okay, the Gregor Clegane coming out swinging the military, being opposed by the Hound. Okay, taking claim from Baratheon size, getting rid of a single Chud, reducing Chud, and a Tyrion being milled from pillage and triggers Gregor Clegane's reaction, and he chooses Melisandre. Very devastating. I remember watching this in person. It was a very nasty ability, and also very devastating, like variance. But yeah, Baratheon's kneel is out of the game, or at least the Melisandre trigger. So see how the Baratheon player does without that available to him as a tool. Okay, so plots for the second round, both sides. Both sides have chosen. Oh. Right, it looks like Brandon's just verifying the exact ruling of Clegane's reaction for pillage, just verifying that. But even if it was straight, oh, and now we're flipped. Filthy, obvious on Gregor. Don't want that to react again. And then calling the banners on the Martell side. So he gains 3 gold. It's a pretty nice plot. The 3 gold, or mainly so that you can get about 6 gold. I think that's probably why calling banners is so valuable in some plot decks, is the ability to get 6 gold instead of like the 4 or 5 that some of them provide passively. Okay, so the painted table, we were talking about that earlier. The chamber of the painted table, I believe, is the full name, and now it's out. If the Baratheon player wins dominance, he can then remove a power from his opponent. Okay, Martell marshalling very quickly. Rose Road comes out, and Nymeria is on the table. Pretty nice. The ability to strip an opponent of an icon, and then gain it herself. She doesn't have any sand snakes companions on the table, so they will not. There's no one else to receive her bonus. But oftentimes people, I think, forget that it's pretty valuable if giving like the bastard daughter an intrigue icon or something like that, or even a power icon to oppose power, so that the unopposed power doesn't go through. So. Okay, I think marshalling is done. Looks like the Martell player might be sitting on 1 or 2 gold, where the Baratheon player has no gold available to him for the beginning of marshalling, or beginning of challenges phase. Looks like Nymeria chose to decline sort of an opening challenge action to strip somebody of icons. So it looks like a military from the Fiery Followers and claim from the Martell. The Green Blood traders are taking his claim. I believe, yep, and Baratheon should get the unopposed power available from that challenge. Let's see what else the Baratheon player is up to. Okay, looks like Nymeria activated and chose to steal Tyrion's intrigue icon, and is now making an intrigue challenge, both players gaining 2 from Tyrion's reaction. And do we have an opposition? Defenders for Baratheon. And the Baratheon player chooses to be unopposed from the intrigue challenge. So 1 for unopposed and claim, and a small Chud is taken out of the Baratheon player's, the reducing Chud is taken out of the Baratheon player's hand as claim, and a power challenge issued by Tyrion, and it is opposed by the other the Baratheon's player, Tyrion. Painted table is triggered through dominance action, and the Baratheon player gains 2 power. So the Baratheon player is up 4 power on his house versus the 2 power 1 on the Martell player's house card, and 1 on Sir Gregor Clegane. Third round, plots come out. Okay, ooh, nice. Heads on spikes. Pulls out the Lightbringer versus... Is that a Feast for Crows? It may be the plot which gives you 2 power when you win dominance, which is very helpful because Brandon's already got the Iron Throne out, and the paint table would possibly give him 4 power just for winning dominance. Pretty powerful. So I believe that's the Feast for Crows, but I don't know the art that specifically. Okay, so Baratheon chose to go first against the heads on spikes. Yeah, I find it interesting that the Martell player has declined to use Gaston Grey so early, or maybe earlier, maybe, you know, hopefully drawing another copy eventually so that you could then use the Gaston Grey on possibly like Tyrion, bouncing him back to hand, removing the duplicate, or even the Hound is an option. But so we see Jaime coming out on the Baratheon side. Okay, Martell collecting 5 income, plays a Rose Road out for further income later down the road. 3 gold, brings out Joffrey, giving him some more power icon spread, as well as collecting power when lords or ladies are killed.
Fair. Not inaccurate.
I believe the players are talking about whether to issue any pre-challenge actions, such as like Nymeria. I believe that is Nymeria stealing Jaime's military icon. So Fire Follower swinging for military, keeping it small on the military side. Nymeria posing for the win. Yeah, Jaime getting stripped of his military icons really strong. That renown is something that Lannisters really do need to be able to gain power, and although the Baratheon player is ahead, you know, gaining as much power as possible before the Martell player is able to sort of have his endgame victory available to him, such as Doran's game, or what else is there? I believe Doran's game is really the only one at the moment, but it is still very powerful. So I believe the Baratheon player has passed. Oh, nope, never mind. Using Jaime, the Baratheon player has issued an intrigue challenge, and to claim he removed a reducing location from the Martell player's hand. So, power from Tyrion stealthing Joffrey. Okay, so the Martell player chooses to be unopposed, power, but he does then choose to Gaston Grey Tyrion. So now, as the Martell player was saying, now two Tyrions in the discard pile, so no saves left for Tyrion, unless the Baratheon player is playing some form of save, such as Bodyguard, but I do not know that. Okay, Martell player coming out swinging, power challenge from Joffrey. The Hound opposes. Okay, the forced reaction, the return to player's hand was saved by the duplicate of the Hound. Okay. Martell player was commenting that he really feels like he should use Gregor Clegane, all that power on the table. So military challenge from the Martell player. opposed by a fiery follower, and the fire follower is taking claim. And Melisandre doesn't hit because Tyrion is in the hand, or that pillage reaction would have sniped Tyrion, although he did have a save at that time. The Martell player was saying he really wants to win dominance. Again, we were talking about Feast for Crows and the Iron Throne and the Chamber of the Painted Table, just stacking power on the Baratheon side. So, power from Tyrion, unopposed. Oh, no, sorry, an intrigue challenge. You can see by the reaction for the 2 gold, and claim is taken. And Tyrion is now in the discard pile completely, so no more Tyrion available to the Baratheon player. Fire followers, and the stand for dominance action, Chamber Painted Table, and the Martell player was noting, don't forget your plot. So it is Feast for Crows, so gaining 2 power for the Baratheon player. He is up 11 power to the Martell player's 2 power, only on Gregor Clegane. Very, very difficult. Martell is definitely a little behind. Not to say they can't come back. That is sort of their house trait. Okay. This is the 4th round, I believe, if I'm counting correctly. So we have building orders, I believe. On the Martell side, I believe that's the plot that allows you to tutor for an attachment or a location. So he's probably looking for another Gaston Grey, bounce one of the large characters on the Baratheon side. And on the Baratheon side, Calm over Westeros. Pretty powerful plot. Probably wants to protect either the military claim against Gregor Clegane, or even trying to hold on to his power, or maybe like something in his hand. So pretty neutral plot. He's got some economy. The 5 gold is pretty nice. Okay. So Martell players tutoring for either an attachment or a location. Probably here now Sunspear is not a bad option, especially against like a power challenge, getting back some of Baratheon. Milk of the Poppy. Probably on Jaime is your best choice, although he hasn't having any renown at the moment. Or he hasn't been really able to use his renown. Nymeria has been stealing his military icon, but I mean, maybe just did not see anything and Milk was the best option. Because I do feel like Gaston Grey is probably your best bet here with regards to like with that plot in your deck. Okay, looks like Baratheon marshalling, King's Road played and sacked, and Littlefinger reaction, gain 2 cards, or draw 2 cards. So some nice economy out, and some icon spread from the Baratheon side, and an extra gold. The Moon Boy, the new card coming from the King's Peace. Pretty nice card out of Baratheon. It really doesn't have a downside, so it's 2 cost, power icon, has Insight, and it has a forced reaction that when you lose a challenge for which Moon Boy is participating in, you must discard a card from your hand at random. So it has like the upside of drawing a card, but then if you lose, you have to discard a card at random. So kind of that parity. But ultimately, you're never going to put Moon Boy in a challenge in which you lose. So the downside is often not very warranted. Okay, so Baratheon has set up, got Littlefinger's pretty awesome, shoring up the board state, giving you another intrigue icon as well as a power icon, which is really strong. Right now the only power icon was the Hound, and so having that available, and then Moon Boy for either like protecting against a Chud block or even giving the Baratheon some more draw. I think that can be very powerful. We haven't seen really any kneeling events from Baratheon, such as like Scene in Flames. I think Scene in Flames could be pretty valuable against Martell, where they have a lot of events they want to hold on to, or even like additional copies of Gas and Gray. So on the Martell side, we have a reducer and 1 gold, paying for Sunspear. Sunspear allows the Martell player, when losing in challenges, as a defending player, he can increase the claim of that challenge for if he is an attacker. And as I was talking about before, Milk coming out on Jaime. I mean, it's okay, but ultimately the renown is really not what the renown on Jaime, and maybe even the kneeling while doing a military challenge, is really not something the Baratheon player has been leveraging, because Nymeria has been taking his military icon. But now, opening it up for Nymeria to maybe steal potentially a different icon from a different character, now that Jaime must kneel when he's doing a military challenge. But, yep. So let's see, Martell's got 4 more gold left. You'll see what he does with it. Yeah, right now the Martell player really needs to be able to win a power challenge and also win dominance. That 2 that 2 power is very akin to something like the Night's Watch the Wall, and you're putting a timer on the end of the game. And so the Martell player really needs to crack into the Baratheon player's power reserves and start to diminish what the Baratheon player can do. So let's see. Okay, issuing a intrigue icon or intrigue challenge from the Baratheon side with the fiery followers. This is doing quite a lot of work on his side. Been able to issue some chud challenges that the Martell player has no chuds available to him, so he must sort of block with his more valuable characters. And Tyrion blocks for strength, giving the win to the Martell side. Yeah. Okay, Martell player is deciding whether he wants to use Sunspear on the intrigue challenge, but he must lose the challenge, and by winning the challenge he cannot trigger Sunspear. Okay. I don't believe Nymeria has stolen an icon at this time. You always want to, some would say you always want to sort of wait as late as possible. Ah, interesting. So the Baratheon player is using Moonboy sort of as a chud attacker to kneel a more powerful, such as Joffrey. Issuing force reaction on Moonboy. Looks like Baratheon player really doesn't care about his cards in hand. Stannis is a nice pull, but ultimately I think Stannis actually might hurt the Baratheon player a little bit more than the Martell player. Okay, so the Baratheon player only has an intrigue available to him, and I believe he's just deciding if he wants to. On the Martell side, you just have... Okay. Okay, so Nymeria is stealing the Hound's power icon, and she's going to swing in power. So you've got Littlefinger to block the power gain. I think that's probably the best bet. You've got Gregor Clegane. He's just going, yep, and as said, Littlefinger blocks, takes claim for the Tide Wind on the Martell side. And let's see if the Mountain can hit something good with Pillage. I think that's really something you need. You need either like a 6-cost character, like a Jaime dupe, or getting the Hound off the table. Okay, and ooh, nice. So yeah, the Mountain swings, and both the Hound and Jaime successfully defend against that challenge, and the Baratheon player opts to keep the Hound on the table by discarding card at random. Okay, so now you got Chamber of Painted Table and Dominance. The Fire Followers should stand, but they really don't matter because of the Iron Throne on the table for the Baratheon side. So Baratheon is up by 12-2 on the Martell side. Martell's got 0 power on their house. They just cannot keep any power available through any of the challenges. So plots revealed. You got sneak attack on Martell's side and confiscation for Baratheon. Okay, so Baratheon player really wants Jaime available. Think that Renown is definitely going to help him seal the game. It's the only character available to him at the moment that can gain power for the character. Okay, Baratheon has 4 gold available to them and 1 reducer. Okay, so I think the Martell side, if I remember correctly when I was watching this game, Martell decided to go second. Ooh, and milk from the Baratheon player on Nymeria, really hurting her. And another fiery followers out, coming out. But as I was saying, the Martell player who even issued sneak attack really wanted to try to get 3 claim using sneak attack and sun spear, so he opted to go second. I don't know if that's maybe the best course, simply because the Baratheon player can just win on power before you have the opportunity to swing back, if the Baratheon player really gets it going. So on the Martell side, you've got some Jaime out on the table. Right. Baratheon player for... right. I think one thing I found about Jaime is just with the lack of renown and the power icon, really definitely hurts. Like, he's very strong in military, but in this exact instance, having a renowned character for a power challenge would really seal the Baratheons' win here. But I've noticed definitely in my own play, Jaime without the power icon, as well as like renown on even a power challenge specifically, really hurts. So, okay, Baratheon deciding actions. So a standing military challenge from Jaime. Since the Martell only has Gregor and Jaime, it's actually pretty risky on the Baratheon side, because if the mountain blocks, or Sir Gregor Clegane blocks, pillage actually occurs on the defense as well. And so you can see the Martell player is a little excited. The possibility of getting, so it does pillage Bob, but there are no 7 cost characters in play on the Baratheon side. So maybe looks like possibly the Baratheon player was a little, maybe didn't know the pillage triggered on the defense, and so sort of swung into it. But now he doesn't necessarily have to worry about it, and oftentimes maybe even being able to know that your character is out of play on the offense versus, say, being on the defense might be something that you can compensate for during your play versus passing the turn, having pillage happen on your opponent's turn, and being very devastating to your defensive stance. So actually not the worst. The renown on Sir Gregor is the only power that Martell has been able to hold on to. Being able to maybe even keeping power both on Sir Gregor and Jaime for the win. It's very difficult, but it doesn't look like Baratheon's going for direct kill, more so just power gain. So not having any on your house as Martell, maybe keeping the painted table down, and then having Gregor stand for dominance to shut down the Iron Throne. But definitely in a very tight spot for the Martell player. Okay. Okay. Looks like the Fiery Followers issued an intrigue challenge, and it was unopposed. and the Martell player is deciding if he wants to use Sunspare, but the Baratheon player really hasn't cared about his cards in the last few rounds, so definitely, maybe not wasting Sunspare on an intrigue challenge and maybe waiting for a power challenge to come through for Sunspare. Claim for intrigue. Oh, treachery. Nice pull on the Baratheon side. Definitely maybe something you want to issue on the painted table so that you don't lose the game, but it's just not available now that it was taken for claim. Okay, I think the Baratheon player has passed. He's really in a very good spot. He can definitely play a lot more of the defense. The Martell player has three standing characters. And the Martell player lost Nymeria's ability to strip icons from the opponent. Ooh. Okay, you have the Martell player is playing Things I Do for Love on the Hound, and paying 3 gold and bouncing the Hound back to hand. Baratheon player doesn't have any way of getting more income during the challenges phase, so pretty good play, and also the 6 power. You can see the Martell player is issuing a power challenge for 7, trying to keep the Baratheon player from winning on dominance. Tyrion chooses Stealth Littlefinger, and the Baratheon player maybe could have knelt with Moonboy to prevent the unopposed, but since the Martell player is not in any position to win due to power total, then it's probably not necessary for the risk. Okay, so the Baratheon player is back to where he was before the power challenge, with the painted table and the Iron Throne, sort of a recurring theme here in this game. So 2 power left for the Baratheon player. Hopefully seals the deal in the next plot or two. This game is no one will oppose that this game is very one-sided for the power game. Okay, plots revealed for, I believe we're on the 5th round. We have Wildfire on Baratheon and Marched on the Martell side. Okay, so I think, if I recall correctly, the players were deciding, the Martell player was deciding whether he wanted to be first player and in what order he cared for the plots to go off. And if I recall correctly, I believe he passed first player to the Baratheon player, saying, hey, I don't necessarily know which way I care to this go, care for which plot to be to trigger first, so you do it. So I believe the Baratheon player ends up going first in this case. So that's sort of why there is a little lull here. I think, from my opinion, I think the better play from the Baratheon side is to probably go down to 2 characters and bring in the Hound and just win on power. But definitely not having Renown on the Baratheon side, I think. Definitely, yep. So we'll see. So Marched is triggered first by the Baratheon player, and then Wildfire is triggered. So both sides have have all the icons covered with their 3 characters. So pretty good position for both players. No one's going to let in an unopposed, especially now that the Baratheon player just needs a power challenge and an unopposed challenge for the game. Of course, the Hound's coming out, 3 gold. And I believe the Baratheon player is sitting on 1, whereas Martell's economy has been pretty good this game. A lot of characters coming out on the Martell side. Doesn't seem like the Martell player, even though he's behind, has a pretty good draw. He's been pretty good. The ability to put out new characters and the ability to keep Baratheon at bay, I think, is pretty admirable in the position that he's in. Really just needs like a very big swing. Like I was saying, even like the benefit of playing Martell as a main house is that they have a lot of abilities to come back. One thing we haven't seen from the Martell side in quite a few rounds is actually another version or another copy of Gaston Grey coming out. I believe there's only been one played so far recently where Martell bounced Tyrion. Okay, so we got the Baratheon deciding how he wants to do his challenges. So we got four characters on either side. The only power icon on the Martell side is Tyrion. So that does shut down, if he's able to get a power challenge through, Tyrion has to oppose or the game is over. Good choice. So, of course, it's always good. Littlefinger will win on the tie against Tyrion. So he's definitely putting Martell in the position for which he must oppose or the game is over. Yep. So the Martell player was just noting that as well. So not having Tyrion available, especially that stealth, is pretty strong. So yep. So claim is taken. 1 power from the house. Yep. And Martell player was just noting that Sunspear wouldn't work with the power challenge anyways, simply because he only has 1 power icon. And a military challenge from Baratheon. Yep. And this is where Jaime's renown comes into play. So he must block with 2 characters. This is pretty risky on the Baratheon side, simply because Sir Gregor's got a reaction that could possibly diminish the Baratheon's offensive ability as well as defensive ability. Losing a power icon. Okay, so we've got Jaime opposing and Sir Gregor, and a 1-cost Chud. Reducer is pillaged and no solid reaction. Okay, then Jaime does an intrigue for the win. An unopposed intrigue challenge from Jaime gives the Baratheon player the 15th power he needs to win the game. So, thank you for watching. More to come.